What's up, everybody? BO44 coming at you with another video. All right. Honestly, I'm here to tell you something we've already talked about. Why? Because I honestly just want to talk to everybody. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. What are we talking about? The same old, same old. LeBron James, of course, Los Angeles Lakers. We understand that LeBron James has been given a guarantee by the Los Angeles Lakers front office that they will do everything they can to get the team to where it needs to be for this upcoming season by using the two picks in a deal, if necessary. So that's basically what they have pledged to LeBron James. That's the key to it all, the word pledged. They will get this done. And I know for a fact they will. I trust. That's where I'm at with it. I don't have unrealistic expectations as it pertains to this team this season. But I'm not really looking at it as it pertains to we must build a championship team this year. Because I don't think you can necessarily do that from where we're at. But what we must do is complete the basketball team. You know, we set goals that we can obtain, and we build from there. I don't think we have an NBA championship team this right now if we make the trade for Kyrie Irving, and depending on what other pieces could come with him. I don't think we're that yet. But what this does, if we do this move, is what it can do is give us a core that we can continue to retool around, that I think ultimately we can compete with. That's what I think this is. Unfortunately, I think the Lakers are trying to build a championship team right now. But you just got to do what you can, you know. It would be wonderful if it was some magical way we can get Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, and Kyrie Irving. Now that, with what we have, could possibly do some damage in the Western Conference. And I think we can do some damage without it, to be honest with you. But I mean, like, maximizing what would otherwise be ideal. Maybe there's some other moves that we can do to retool to make this team make a little more sense, on top of the Kyrie Irving trade as well, that I'm not seeing. You know, that's certainly possible. But right now, it's just about getting us to being good enough so that our stars can take us wherever we're headed. And with the stars that we have, overachieving will not be something that shouldn't be achievable. That's the point. I think a lot of people loved the trio of Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons / James Harden. I don't think that trio has anything on Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and a fully healthy and energized Anthony Davis. I really don't. I never have. And so I'm just waiting to see what the Lakers can put together. I like our wing players in terms of our defenders and bigs, players like that. And what you're going to need is just some shooters, obviously, to kind of help finish rounding out what we need. But here's the thing, and I've said this a million times, of course, but our team and the role players that we have they're not set in stone. They are interchangeable. Some of these guys can be moved around a little bit. We do have some G League guys, sorry about that can help us if for some reason the guys we've signed this offseason underachieve or aren't healthy or what have you. I'm fully confident that we have a war chest in the G League of at least 6 players that I would feel very confident in putting on this team right now. I think about 6 of them. And that's why I feel so good about my team. Because I know it's not what we are not what we appear to be. Because we can do a lot of shuffling to make sure this lineup look a lot better without making any trades, just by calling some G League guys up. Or calling some of those rookies that are going to be playing in the G League up. Cole Swider, Pippen, obviously Christie, Huff, McCoy. I got faith in all these dudes. O'Neal. I got faith in these guys. I think they can help a team. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, if we can't get the most out of our guy Walker, if we can't get the most out of some of the guys we picked up SGA, that's okay. Because we know we got some guys behind him that's going to do some work. And so that's what the selling point is for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's why you don't mind having to throw in a little more than 2 picks to make a deal done if necessary. Because those players we do have, and they can go. And I think most people don't even know they're back there. So this is one of those situations where it's like, it just feels good to be a Laker fan who's knowledgeable of what it is that we actually have. You paid attention to the summer league. You pay attention to what our scouts. You know what I'm saying? And that is a prelude to what we can put together past this season. When your scouts are right, you can anticipate them maximizing whatever you have. So you feel good about picking up a second round pick and making it into a role player. You feel good about trading for those type of things so that you can give that conglomerate a chance to shine. And that's ultimately what I think the Lakers are really, really, really good at right now, is empowering those scouts and letting them lead us to upside talent. So I love my Lakers situation. I do. Super excited. I think LeBron James sees it probably the same way I do. That's why he didn't hesitate to sign his extension. And plus, that deal looks really good, man. $50 million in your 40th year, as they said, I think it was. That is pretty, to say the least. So I'm very happy for Bron, man. I'm happy for us. And I'm not mad at him for taking the amount he did. No, I understand the angles I believe necessary to see why it's important for LeBron to take that money. None more so than, of course, his angle, which is what was brought up on ESPN, I believe it was, which is he doesn't want to be used against others. Am I saying this right? He doesn't want to be used in negotiations as a means of trying to force players to not take the requisite amount of money that they're owed. To leave something on the table. Bron did it. You should too. So I get that. That's one reason why you definitely take all the money. Another reason is because you can do it. You could literally play that level of basketball for this team this upcoming season and have it not feel like we're missing so much of the cap, because he's going to give us that much play. That's what LeBron James is going to do if he's healthy. Now, if he's not healthy, then you revisit that conversation. But I don't care that LeBron James took the right amount of money he's supposed to take, because he's LeBron James. He's LeBron James, you guys. I mean, you're gonna make up that in all of the sales and different things that are gonna ultimately be because of his presence on your team. So you're gonna make all that money up. He's gonna play up to the level it's said, and of course, you understand that LeBron James can be anywhere in the world, but he chose to be here. So you don't insult him with conversations about taking less money. You offer him what he's deserving of, and you thank him for taking it. That's it. That's literally it. That's the only way to play it. I don't think any other team in the league would even dare play it any other way. That's just the only way to play that. So that's great. All of that is set in stone. We have our leverage because of it. And now we're looking at what we can do with our 2 picks. And we don't like the Indy deal for the 2 picks necessarily, because Kyrie Irving is more so the piece that the Lakers want. But what I want the Lakers to do is try to get more than Kyrie Irving from the Nets or within that trade. I do think we need to shuffle around, try to get THT a home, and try to make a play to try to get that shooting that we've been talking about. And make sure they have defined roles for some of these players who don't have defined roles at the moment. A guy like Kendrick Nunn, are we sure we have the right role for his skill set? I know everybody's excited about him coming in. We missed the season last year. He's healthy or close to healthy. I'm not really sure the status there yet. But do we believe the role that we have for him is going to best utilize what it is he brings to the table? I don't have the answer for that. I don't think anybody does just yet. We got to see what conditioning he has. But because his conditioning is so questionable for me, I'm up for moving on. And I've been on that. I kind of got over the mindset of I was frustrated about last year's mid-level situation, the fact that he wasn't able to be healthy for us, and the fact that we really, really needed a lot was a big deal. But I'm trying to separate that, because even if he was there all season long, he just would have been one more player losing on that floor like everybody else. We didn't have it last year. So assessing the type of skill set that he has in the game that he has, I think he's a scorer. I think he's a guy who can just go straight at you. Streaky guy, can hit some threes here and there, though he's not a shooter, he's a shot maker. But I don't look at him as someone who's going to pass the ball very much. I don't look at him as somebody who can keep continuity with others I think of him as someone who's just going to get his shot. So if you have the role for that player, you're happy. I don't know enough about him defensively to really assess properly. So I can't say if I want him to start in terms of defense. But, not everybody has to play both sides of the floor necessarily at a very high level. We just need the players to do what it is that they're good at. I just don't know, though. It's such a question mark. And because it's a question mark, I want a more surefire bet in place, which is why I would love for us to go ahead and just try to get Buddy Hield if possible, even though his contract isn't my favorite. I do think that I would feel a lot better if he were in place at that shooting guard position as a more sturdy piece who's ascending in his skill set because he's getting better. In fact, he took some nice steps forward in the playmaking and rebounding department last year. And if Buddy Hield can start becoming a guy who you can get 3 and 4 assists out of consistently every night, I think it would open up things for him a lot offensively. You'll see a better version of Buddy. So, he has a reputation for being a guy who's about himself, from what I understand. But we also know what he's really good at, and we know what type of big shot ability is there with the player. So I'm on board with bringing in Buddy Hield. I have been for a little while, even though I'm not super high on him. I still think he's a hell of a weapon and a shot maker that we could use. So, I'm not necessarily saying that the Lakers should put the 2 picks on the table for the Indy deal, but I just am telling you that if the only thing we do is get Kyrie Irving and that's it, we're still going to need to make some moves throughout the season to get better, or we're not going to be we're not going to be good enough. We're not going to be where we want to be. So that's why I'm saying, like, if we can kind of swindle away to get Buddy 2 with Kyrie somehow, or Eric Gordon, or even somebody else who's in that range of player, I think we'll be fine. Because that shooter is so necessary. What else? There's something else I wanted to say in regards to our squad. Of course, everybody knows Pau Gasol is going to have his jersey retired in March. I believe it's March 7th. Against the Memphis Grizzlies. Super excited about 16 going up. Pau Gasol is our guy, man. So, as we've talked about, we can't wait to celebrate him. And, of course, we'll be thinking about 8/24 on that same day as well, because there's no way we can talk about Pau Gasol without having so many memorable moments with Kobe Bryant as well. So, those guys won 2 NBA championships with our Laker team, and it meant a lot to us at the time and still do. So we want to celebrate them. Can't wait to do that later on this year. And, hopefully we can put something else up, in terms of a banner. I know that that's a long shot, as a Laker fan. I know I'm pie in the sky in it right now, but at the end of the day, we have LeBron James. He hasn't spent too many times in his career outside of the NBA Finals. He hasn't spent too much time in his career with this much talent either, in terms of Anthony Davis, and of course if we were able to get Kyrie Irving. So in my mind, you're giving him a lot of help. Maybe not enough to make him the best team in the regular season, but if you give a guy like that a puncher's chance in the playoffs, and you start looking at some of the teams that are going to be facing them, they're going to be youngsters. This Western Conference full of young teams. You get LeBron James up against a bunch of young teams. If we have enough lengthy players and enough balanced shooting and stuff like that to get him to those moments, he's going to overcome those children. I'm just going to tell you right now. They're going to be looking down the barrel of LeBron James just like everybody else has over the years, and it's going to be tough on them. It's going to be real tough on them. So that's what I believe, and that's why I have a lot of faith in my team overachieving. If we can stay healthy, of course. Health being the main thing. But if for some reason we are a healthy team, people need to understand who we are as it pertains to what Anthony Davis and LeBron James have already proven when they're right. Last year was an anomaly because we literally removed the center from the situation. And anybody who knows basketball knows you can't remove a center and then place Russell Westbrook down there and think you're going to be successful. That's craziness. So we tried that and it failed. And I think it was an anomaly because it's not anything you'll see again on a Laker floor. However, before that, we remember the Lakers whooping tail with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Didn't matter who the role players was because they were destroying people. They were getting down there and they were running people over. Now, of course, the pandemic hit and we went away, had to go back, to the drawing board, of course, and then the bubble situation picked right back up and won the championship. But people need to remember what we looked like before we got into the bubble. That's what I want people to zero in on. That Laker team was the best team in the Western Conference at the time. We were mowing people down. It was Anthony Davis and LeBron James leading the way. Practically unstoppable. That's what we need to recapture. The first half of the championship season, if we can find that chemistry is the chemistry that's going to make us overachieve this season and ultimately be a playoff team that can make some noise. But they got to establish those two once again. And then, like I said, Anthony Davis' conditioning, his approach, his start to the season is the end-all, be-all. So I'm assuming his conditioning is where it needs to be. Super excited about what I'm seeing from Kyrie, even though he's not technically a part of our team. May not necessarily start this year with our team. I'm still paying attention to him as if he's our player. And he's doing work. You know, you can clearly see that he's out there showing his face in these gyms, making sure he's picking up a sweat, making sure he's getting his conditioning going. So that is major, man. And the people are trying to point out, hey, look who's working out with who. Basketball players, in my mind, don't have no care about none of that narrative nonsense y'all talking about. These guys have been seeing each other since they were 10, 11 years old. Russell Westbrook and Kyrie Irving being in a gym together is not a thing at all. It never will be. None of these guys being in a gym together playing basketball will never be a thing. Only the talking heads like myself and Skip and all these great guys that talk about the game. But as far as, am I shocked to see that player and that player next to each other? Of course not. Ballers ball, fam. Literally that simple. So that's what it is, man. Super excited about everything I've saw in those clips because he looks like his conditioning is where it needs to be. He was keeping up with guys even though they were cooking him. The boy Cole Anthony, he was cooking him. I ain't gonna lie. But you don't hire Kyrie for defense. He was keeping up with him. That's all I care about. As long as Kyrie can come back on the other end and cook him, it's good enough for me. And that's exactly what he's going to do. So, not worried about that. But it was good to see him run. That's the most important thing. He was running. He was getting his sweat on. And so, my concern was that he would be hesitant to be in these situations, you know, because of the narrative nonsense. I thought that because of his particular circumstance, I was wondering how the guys might be taken to him. I don't know. But didn't matter. He out there, he running, and he's doing it a lot, it seems. He's consistent in these spaces. So, yeah, man, well, ball is ball. Like I said, he'll be here if we can acquire him. No question about it. And I'm excited about it. As you guys know, I've been at the top of the mountain screaming, let's get Kyrie Irving as soon as I was aware of how best I should view his game. Because if you go back to some of them old videos, I didn't respect his game like I needed to. I'll be the first to tell you. I'll check myself quick. I was calling Kyrie the player that was like a vanity style player. And what that means to me is he does the vanity things that are really nice looking but don't matter as much. Wrong. Super wrong. If you see that video again, you just make sure you put wrong at the bottom of it. Because that's how I feel about it. No, Kyrie Irving doesn't just do the vanity things. He also literally creates opportunities for other people to get open by doing all of the stuff that he does. So he draws attention away from others and makes it so that they're open just by sheer nature. Even if it's not necessarily this play, he's danced so much in the last 4 plays, now they're leaving people open because they're afraid of what he's going to do next. And that is going to be too much to try to strategize against when you're dealing with Anthony Davis and LeBron James as well. That's too much. I'm telling you, Kyrie Irving and LeBron James were a heck of a duo together when they had Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love. And I love those guys, but they are not Anthony Davis. No, sir. No, they are not. So that's going to be a dynamic that I think can be devastating during certain pockets of the season. If we can keep those guys healthy together with the grit and the energy, the fire of our coach, if it can translate to some of these kids, we're going to have a dangerous basketball team. I know Austin Reeves is coming in with a little heavier. I'm just praying to the good Lord that we don't involve him in any trade because I know he's probably one of the more desirable, noteworthy pieces that teams are aware that we have. So I'm just praying that we can hold on to that dude because I know what he can do and I know how important he's going to be to not only the continuity of our basketball team and our defense because he does play excellent defense, but to clutch play. Oh, clutch play. Please don't sit Austin Reeves down at the end of the game. Please don't do that. Keep him. Darvin Ham, study that kid. He got a thing about him. When they come to that fourth quarter, it's a thing, dude. Turn into somebody else. Like, he's literally one of those guys whose game elevates when the pressure gets tight. There must be something we utilize, because it's definitely going to improve his value if we continue to allow him to shine in those moments. So that's another thing I've been thinking a lot about is knowing when guys shine, paying attention to just when guys do their damage most. Some guys are better in the end of the game. Some guys are better in the middle of the game. Some guys are better in the beginning of the game. Some guys are LeBron James. And so you just got to know who is what, and of course try to put those guys in positions to shine in the moments that they do. So that's just something I'll be looking for, tendencies of that nature. So that's what I got, man. Russell Westbrook, man, he's still a Laker, of course. A lot of talk has been had about whether or not if there's some way to make him fit. Not if he's not able to shoot the three, not if he's not going to be better defensively. We can live with the turnovers because the turnovers are coming anyway. Truth be told, he's going to turn the ball over naturally regardless. But what we can't live with is the defensive lapses. Some of those defensive lapses, I can't live with those. I could live with you accidentally fumbling the ball off your foot. That's cool. But not sitting in a chair and letting a guy blow past you, just swiping at him and stuff like that, that's what I couldn't live with at all. A lot of plays fell apart because he wasn't where he needed to be defensively. So whether he's a Laker, a Spur, or Utah, whatever, if he wants to stay in this league, he's going to have to shore that side of the ball up more so than anything else. Forget all the stuff that Skip and those guys are talking about. Defense is going to keep him in this league. He's never going to be a great defender, but he must improve if he's got any shot of being an NBA player going forward, in my opinion. It's that side of the ball, believe it or not. So that's something I'm thinking about in regards to Russell Westbrook. What else? That's about it, man. That's about it. I think I said everything I got to say, man. I'm enjoying the heck out of my birthday, even though I haven't really done anything special. It's just good energy, man. It's been a good couple of days. So I'm hopeful that energy kind of spread out into your homes at this time or wherever you are. And thank you guys for rocking with BDF 44.